Well, hello and welcome to this Money Control live stream. You're watching Morning Trade with me, Nandita Khemka. It's a Friday morning and the cues coming out of global markets are not that encouraging, but the GIFT Nifty is signaling a mildly negative start for the Indian markets. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll be talking about all the cues for trade, the stocks to watch out for, and of course, we'll also be getting all your stock-related queries answered by our experts on the show. So if you have any queries, send them in to us on our YouTube feed. And as usual, we'll be taking it up with our technical expert who will be joining us shortly on the show. But before we do all that, of course, let's take a look at the top headlines at this hour. Wall Street slumps after ADP data for June shows the private sector in the US added nearly 5 lakh jobs in June. That's more than double the number expected on the street. Strong jobs print raises fears that the Fed may keep interest rates higher for longer. Asian markets sell off after a weak handover from Wall Street. The GIFT Nifty is also indicating a flat start for the Indian market. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman urges public sector banks to increase credit to rural areas and the agricultural sector. The Finance Ministry also said that net non-performing assets across PSU banks dropped to a record low of 1.24%. Tata Steel's first quarter India deliveries grow 17% while Europe and Thailand drop on expected lines. Titan says revenue grew about 20% in the first quarter, while Dabur's update reflects improving sales trends in rural and urban areas. India's drone manufacturer IdeaForge is expected to make a blockbuster Dalal Street debut today. The IPO garnered a very strong response and was subscribed 106 times. Shares are expected to list at a premium of 75% to its issue price of 672 rupees a share. Well, without any delay, let's bring on board then our market expert who's joining in this morning, Ambareesh Baliga, who's an independent market expert, is joining in on the show. Good morning, Ambareesh. Good to have you on the show. Last time I spoke to you, we had hit a fresh high, and even now, yesterday we clocked 19,500 on the index. Everybody I speak to keeps saying that, maybe you should look at entering into the markets on dips. But that dip is rather elusive. I mean, we don't see any dip coming in at the juncture. What's your take on the markets going forward?
See, at this point of time, I'm finding the markets are getting a bit too frothy, especially in the mid-cap and the small-cap side. And clearly, liquidity has been driving the markets because the markets are going up. There are speculators who are coming in, investing more. And that's what is driving it up. But then at some point of time, it is in fact getting a bit expensive. And at some point of time, we'll see a correction. And that correction also can be decently deep. Because the markets, I think, were decently valued when Nifty was about 18,500, 18,600. But at these levels, if you see a correction, like I said, it could be possibly a bit deeper and could be more than 1,000 points. Because, in fact, I see the markets possibly correcting to levels of about 18,200 to 18,400 levels. So that will not be a small dip. I think it will be a decent correction.
All right, we can expect a decent correction of 1,000 points on the Nifty going forward. Ambareesh, the earnings season is kicking off next week with IT majors expected to report their numbers. But right. Interestingly so, we saw a lot of downgrades come in on the EPS front after the fourth quarter earnings. And, understandingly so. But this time, even before the first quarter numbers have come out, brokerages have further downgraded EPS for some of these IT biggies. Last quarter, of course, we had the SVB crisis and the US regional bank crisis playing out. But this time, there hasn't really been a crisis of that sort. So what is it? What would you attribute this EPS downgrade coming in just a week ahead of the quarterly earnings?
I don't think it's about the crisis. We have seen the crisis earlier, but now the effect of the crisis is playing out with the lower order flows. There have been a couple of orders, decently large orders, which have been cancelled, especially TCS announced that recently. So I think because of this, we are seeing those downgrades. And possibly we can see that effect at least for the next 1 or 2 quarters. So as far as IT is concerned, I think that pressure will still be on for a while. But possibly over the next 1 or 2 quarters, there could be those pockets of opportunity in IT because of the underperformance which you have seen. In the last about 12 to 18 months, I think there'll be some opportunity in IT space over the next 2 quarters.
All right, some opportunity in the IT stocks may emerge over the next few quarters. But let's also talk about, the premium bike segment. It has been in the news given the fact that, we've seen new entrants in the premium bike segment, and there's an intense pricing war going on in that segment. Of course, Royal Enfield, Eicher was the undisputed leader, but now we have entrants like Hero and Bajaj Auto. And of course, it's also evident in the share prices of Eicher that, margins are will come under pressure. So how should one look at Eicher? Do you think this is a big threat going forward, or because of its dominance, do you think this is just a short-term blip?
No, see, like the dominance will continue for a while longer, but then there would be clear margin pressure because today, a buyer has a decent amount of choice, and because of which we could see even then numbers being hit. So I'll not be surprised if we see, a further cut in Eicher share price, and in fact, I'm looking at a price which is possibly below 3,000. So even at these levels, I would suggest that if one is holding Eicher, possibly time to book out.
All right, that's the call. I also want to get your thoughts on the spirit companies. Fourth quarter saw margin erosion on the back of increase in raw material prices, but analysts expect the first quarter to be extremely high-spirited, so to say. What are your thoughts? Any stock you're liking in this space?
No, because in this space, I think one should look at a stock like United Spirits, which I think will continue doing well because they are more on the high margin sort of business, premium quality sort of brands. So I think that's one stock which should continue doing well.
All right. And, Ambareesh, lastly, any sectors that you're looking at right now, given the fact that Realty, of course, has done extremely well. Yesterday, we saw stocks like DLF hitting a fresh 52-week high. So, how would you rate the Realty rally that is going on at the current juncture?
Real estate rally, I think, should continue at least in the foreseeable future because there's real demand at the ground level, and especially in the affordable housing space. In fact, I see a decent amount of demand coming in. And possibly by January 2024, at least in India, we should start seeing the rates starting to come down. And I think that will be the next big trigger for the real estate space, especially the affordable housing space. So other than DLF, Godrej Properties, I think one should look at pure play affordable housing plays. So, one stock which comes to my mind is Arihan Superstructures, which is purely into this space. And I think that's one stock which can possibly give a decent return, at least in the foreseeable future of the next 2 to 3 years.
All right. One more question. I want to get in your thoughts on the tire companies. Yesterday, of course, we saw a very good rally coming in the likes of Apollo Tires. Yet, in fact, the market cap has hit 10,000 crore rupee mark and saw a 17% uptick. Of course, auto and auto ancillaries is one pocket that the street is really bullish on. But within the tire space, are you liking Seat, Apollo Tires, JK Tires at the juncture?
In fact, I liked all these three stocks some time back, but with the sort of a rally which we have seen in the past couple of days, I think they are more than fully priced. So at this point of time, I'll not really go in for a fresh pick in that space, in the tire space. But I suppose in the battery space, I think there is still some more upside left. So I think one should look at stocks like Exide and Amaraja. Possibly we can have and the 15-18% sort of a rally in this space over the next 2 to 3 months.
All right. With that, Ambareesh, we are running out of time. Thanks a lot for taking out time and joining in and sharing your thoughts with us this morning. Well, on that note, let's also get on board our technical expert for today, Raja Venkatraman of Neotrader joining in. Good morning, Raja. Good to see you on the show again. Yesterday we clocked that 19,500 mark and, entire week, barring 1 or 2 days, we've seen the Nifty hitting fresh highs on a regular basis. Any kind of a dip expected today, or do you think the upward march will continue?
Yeah, good morning, Nandita. So the way the market has really moved, it has been quite phenomenal, and you can see that the kind of triggers which are emerging internally versus the triggers which are emerging externally outside India, they have been quite contradictory, and we have actually ignored those triggers, and we have marched on ahead. And one of the primary reasons have been the overall positive macros and also the strong Q4 which helped the momentum. Now expecting that the Q1 of this financial year will again trigger further upside would be asking too much of the current market trends. So yes, like you rightly said, there could be a dip which you can expect. So as long as lower levels around 19,250 to 300 holds, I would continue to believe that yes, there is a very much a dip by possibility, and every dip in the market, I am a buyer. I am a buyer on every dip in the market, because currently the market is definitely on the bullish side. And what is one of the main triggers in the last few days has been Bank Nifty. So if the overall trends continue to retain positivity, yes, you can expect further upside. Now even in Bank Nifty, again say 700 to 800 point decline is very much part of the overall move. So any declines which we will see in the next few days should not be considered as a reversal, unless key levels around 19,000 is broken on the downside now, which was a resistance, has now become a support, and 44,500 which was a resistance earlier has now become a support. So as long as these levels are held, one should look to participate rather than shy away from the market. Yes, when you take a look at the option data, we are reaching a point of extreme, but that doesn't mean that we need to get scared and stay on the sidelines, because right now, based on the kind of data and the kind of people whom I'm speaking to, everyone is afraid. They're getting a vertigo right now at the current market trends. But then the thing is that the people who are participating are the ones who are making money.
All right, the people who are participating are the ones who are actually making the money. So buy on every dip. That's the view from Raja on the index. But let's also talk about certain stocks that are in news. Of course, the stock for the day today for me would be Titan, given the fact that the Q1 update has come, and it hints at a very strong performance, all-round performance for Titan. In fact, Q1 revenue has grown in around 20% or thereabouts on a YOY basis, extremely strong. In fact, key businesses, consumer businesses, in fact, have exhibited double-digit growth, and the company has added 68 stores in the first quarter, taking the total store tally to somewhere around 2,700 or thereabouts. Stock has, of course, been doing fairly well. It has hit a fresh 52-week high recently. How would you play this stock? Would you expect levels of 3,200 on the counter anytime soon?
Yeah, Titan has been a bellwether stock. It has managed to defy the pullback opportunities, and every pullback has seen a good buying into Titan. So I would continue to place my bets on Titan. It's a good trading play as well as an investment play, and those who are looking to look for further upside in this should look to participate this on every decline. Now 3,200, it's not too far away for Titan. But then the dips would be in the region of around 2,900, where I would definitely consider again Titan as a investment opportunity. So for trading opportunity is concerned, 3,200 is very much possible.
All right, that's the call on Titan. Then let's also talk about Dabur. There are brokerage views coming in on the stock after it reported its first quarter business update. In fact, double-digit growth is what it has seen. Remember, it has recently acquired Badshah Masala, and in fact, on a consolidated level, the business has grown 10%. International business may also report double-digit growth in constant currency terms. If you look at the street view, Morgan Stanley is overweight on the stock, target at 606 rupees, and it believes that improving demand trends both in urban and rural bodes well for the company in the first quarter. In fact, gross margin improvement should also continue. Goldman Sachs, on the other hand, has buy rating and has a target price of 600 and believes that the EBITDA margin is expected to be similar to what it was in the same quarter last year. And it also expects a very sharp QOQ margin improvement from the lows of 15.3% that it saw in the fourth quarter. Now, yesterday we saw Marico also giving out a very okayish or good commentary for the on the margin front for the rest of the year. So, looking at some of these FMCG numbers, looks like the first quarter may not be all that good, but second quarter onwards, these companies are expected to see some bit of a recovery. But stock-wise, if you see over the last 1 week, Dabur is up 6.5%. Would you advise investors to take a position in the stock from a trading perspective now, or would you advise them to invest in this company for the long term?
If I take a reading of Dabur and if I've been tracking it over the last almost more than a year, the stock has not done really much. FMCG sector has moved to new highs. The entire sector, some of the stocks are doing quite well, but this stock continues to languish, and I feel that the levels of around, considering the current market scenario, so if there is a reaction, so it is reaching a reaction point right now. So somewhere in the region of around 600 to 610 could be an immediate target for those who are already invested into Dabur. If you want to invest fresh into Dabur, I would wait for these levels to exceed.
All right, that's the view on Dabur then. Let's take up some viewer queries then. Sharvan Bhati wants to know your thoughts on Havells. If you look at the stock, it hasn't really done much over the last 1 month. If somebody holds this stock, should they continue to hold for some higher profits?
The stock continues to be in a range bound action, and this is definitely not met the expectation of the kind of moves which the market has produced. So I would not get into the stock right now. So if you are a holder, then around levels of around 1350 to 1400 would be your target zone.
All right. 1350 to 1400 would be the target zone for this company. But let's take up a query on Blue Star. This one is coming in from Priyanka. Stock has gained 3% over the last 5 sessions, just about 30 rupees away from a 52-week high. How should one look at a Blue Star?
See, this stock has definitely managed to hold out, and it has given a very good move over the last few years. But what you need to consider is that if we need to participate in this stock, there are dips which are going to emerge. So one should consider dips in the region of around 700 and add on to this stock rather than invest it fresh at new highs.
All right, that's the call on Blue Star. Hope that answers your query. Let's focus in on some of the stocks in news today. Yesterday, of course, we saw some of the realty companies like Ajmera Realty flying high in trade, given the fact that they had given out a very strong business update for the first quarter. Today, we have a business update coming in from Sobha. Reported a 28% YY growth, and price realization in Q1 also surged over 25% on a YY basis. How would you look at some of these smaller or mid-cap realty stocks now, the likes of Ajmera, Sobha? Do you think they are worth looking at, or would you stick to something like a Godrej Properties and DLF right now?
Correct. Based on the current economic development in India and the kind of money flow which is happening across India, and based on the recent report which I read, so there are a lot of the age bar at which people are purchasing real estate has really dropped down. So this is a very good news for the real estate developer, and that's why you're seeing many real estate stocks doing well. So yes, people are with different income levels. So stocks at different at the capacity. There are some premium projects, there are some normal projects. So all of them are beginning to do well. So this could continue to be a trend for the next few years, and this is what is spiking up some interest in these real estate stocks. So we could see some movement in these real estate stocks in the next few years. So if you're looking to invest into Sobha, then this would be a good time because the stock has definitely made a bottom.
All right, Sobha has made a bottom. Good time to look at this stock. Let's take up a query on Gabriel India. This is coming in from Meet and wants to know whether he should add more or just hold whatever he already has. Gabriel India has been in a good uptrend. Yesterday, it did hit a fresh 52-week high. Should he hold on to it or add more and wait for more highs to exit?
Yeah, considering the way the auto sector is moving, one should definitely hold on because this stock is on a very, very positive trajectory. So one should exercise the momentum here. There is no sign for exhaustion here. So one should look to hold on.
All right, look to hold on. Hope that answers your query. Let's take up a query on Jubilant Foodworks. Pranesh Kumar wants to know your thoughts. Now, this stock, of course, came under pressure. Fourth quarter earnings weren't all that good amid input costs. It's just come off its 52-week lows, but it's under that 500 rupee mark. How should one play some of these companies like Jubilant and the likes of Restaurant Brands Asia? and Devyani International. Which one of it is looking good, or do you think one should avoid this pocket right now?
Yeah, amongst these kind of the restaurants or the consumer items, I would definitely not go in with Jubilant Foodworks as a investment bet. The reason being that it's got very volatile nature, and the kind of moves which emerges here is not suiting to the style of a short-term investor. So it's best that if you are into trading, then you can consider Jubilant Foodworks. Otherwise, you can avoid this stock.
All right, that's the call on these Jubilant and the rest of the stocks from the restaurant space. But let's talk about Indian hotels. It has come out with its Q1 updates, pretty strong, added 5 new properties in the last quarter. Stock, of course, hasn't been doing that well over the last 5 days, and even over the last 1 month, it has dropped somewhere around 2% or thereabouts. If somebody wants to play on this news and, in fact, to take positions in this stock today, would you advise them to do so?
Yeah, this stock has been again, just like Titan, it's marching on. It spent quite a bit of time in consolidation for more than a year. Not around 6 to 8 months it spent in consolidation, and then the last results produced a very strong upside, and with every result season this stock is showing some movement. So the result season is a good time to buy into the stock, because if the results are once again robust, then you can expect a further upside, because over the last few days the stock has spent some time in consolidation, so this could be a good time for a good move. So I would advise a buy in this.
All right. That's the call then. Hope that answers your query. Another query is coming in from Hitesh Joshi on Coal India. Stock has been on an uptrend. Last 6 months, we have seen a 9% gain. It's closing in on its 52-week highs of 263 levels or thereabouts. Should one buy into it now?
Yeah, Coal India is something which one should never participate if you are not having a long-term mindset. This is something which I have been advising every time. So the current market trend is a mixture, and majority of the people do not have the patient level to hold on to such stocks. So I would definitely first check whether you are you able to hold on to the kind of moves which it is giving you, because if you see that it's a very sluggish stock, and it's not, if you're expecting a return in the short term, then Coal India is not your bet. If you're expecting a return in the next say maybe 2 to 3 years, the stock will double from here.
All right, not for short term purpose, this stock Coal India, but for a 2 to 3 year horizon, maybe you could look at good gains. That's the call on Coal India. Let's take up a query on Iron Exchange. This stock, it just rallied quite a bit yesterday, 11%, hit a 52-week high. Rajiv has written in, wants to know whether a fresh entry is warranted in this counter.
So, see, when stocks like this move, you got to understand that these stocks don't move every day. So, when you expect such a move every day, then it's not going to happen. So, yes, it is given as a very strong move, but the kind of pains which it endures is much higher, so I would not be a buyer in this.
All right, Raja advises to avoid this counter at the juncture. Hope that answers your query. Let's take up another query on Surya Roshni. This one is coming in from Gladson. Wants to know your thoughts. If you look at the stock, I think over the last 5 days it is down 10%. Do you think one should look at this for a short-term perspective, or?
No, I would advise an exit from this counter. This counter does not merit any investment or trading.
All right, exit this counter. That's the call. Last query, Hemant Kumar wants to know your thoughts on Voltas. Of course, this stock has seen a lot of downgrades come in recently, given the fact that, unseasonal rains have played spoil sport when it comes to AC sales. I think the stock has also been under pressure. In fact, over the last 5 days, it's up 1.5% or thereabouts. But how would you play this? Do you think one should look at this, given the fact that a lot of downgrades have come in for this stock?
No, this stock is definitely into a rough patch, and I feel that it is right now at a very important lows of around 750. So 750 is a very strong support area, but then the kind of negative triggers and the kind of situation which it is in, if 750 is broken, then you can see a very strong downside. So I would not be a buyer in this because the overall momentum continues to be on the weaker side.
Well, overall momentum for Voltas continues to be on the weaker side. I think with that, we've come to the end of this query segment. But Raja, before I let you go, any stock recommendations for our viewers?
Yeah, considering the nature of the market, I would continue to retain a bullish stance. I would be a buyer in AU Bank with the entry at 784, stop loss at 772 for a target of 801. And I would also like to buy into Indigo at around 2700 with a stop at 2680 for a target of 2750.
All right, Indigo and AU Small, two stock picks coming in from Raja. With that, Raja, thanks a lot for taking out time and joining in this morning. Wish you a good trading day and a very happy weekend as well. Well, before I say goodbye to our viewers, there's a blockbuster listing that the street is keenly watching out for. IdeaForge is expected to make its debut on the bourses today. Remember, the IPO saw extremely strong demand with the issue getting subscribed by 106 times. That's phenomenal. In fact, if you look at the issue price, that was set at 672 rupees per share, and it is expected to list at a 75% premium to its issue price. So watch out for this blockbuster listing in today's session. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Morning Trade. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And of course, have a great weekend, but don't go anywhere right now, given the fact that we have another show coming up. So stay tuned for that.